Good morning, everyone. Um, I am coming to you today with another video. This is actually so the video that I did entitled "The Bible in a Nutshell," and that basically discussed that the whole Bible is about bloodlines. Um, I decided to do I didn't decide. I started getting all kind of things coming to me this morning that I left out that I believe the Most High was downloading in my spirit to make. There are going to be two more parts to this video. So um one thing that I touched on that all right, so okay, I'm just gonna do a little recap. So the video that I made relating to the bloodlines, and basically stating that the entire Bible is nothing only about bloodlines. We see that in the book of Genesis, it starts off with genes. Immediately in Genesis 3 and 15, a fall had taken place, a proclamation was given about a seed from the woman crushing the seed of the serpent. And then the woman in the very next verse, that was 3 and 15, and 3 and 16, the woman was given a proclamation or a prophecy that her conception and childbirth was going to be hard. And then when we get to Genesis 4, you have the birth of Cain and Abel. So I wanted to focus because I touched on it here, but it says that in verse 2, Abel was a keeper of the sheep and Cain was a tiller of the ground. And so we know that Cain was the firstborn because Cain was born in Genesis 1. And once again, that emphasis, when she saw him, she said, I have gotten a mortal. This man means mortal. I've gotten a mortal from the Lord. But then when we go to Genesis 5, you will see the where it gives the genealogy of Adam. It says, here are Adam's descendants made in his image and his likeness. So these people look like him. That's why there were no emphasis on descriptions here. And then remember, the Bible also says that Cain had a mark upon him, so that when people knew him, they automatically knew who he was, and they knew not to slaughter him or mess with him. Because one thing that he was concerned was when Ahia was kicking him out, that, oh, I'm gonna go out and get killed. And so there was a mark on him and on his genealogy where when people saw him, they knew that who he was or who his family was. So going to go here to Genesis 2, where it says that Abel was a keeper of sheep. If we look at this word keeper in the Hebrew, this word ra'al, it basically means to tend to a flock, to pasture it, to graze, generally to rule. Okay, so Abel, the second born, was given the right to rule. He was also called a pastor, a shepherd, and a herdsman. Okay, his title was to feed the sheep, to keep the sheep. All right, this is what Abraham's entire line is about. That's why even though Adam had other sons, the emphasis was on Seth. And then Although Seth may have had other sons, the emphasis was always on the son that the promise came from. Even through the line of Seth, when it goes to Eber, Eber was the line that Terah came from, Abraham's father. So it always focuses on the line, the bloodline of the person pertaining to the promise. But Cain was the firstborn. Now, the ground was cursed in Genesis 3 after the fall. So we'll go back to that for a minute. But see, it says that Cain was a tiller of the ground. And when we focus on tiller here, H5647, that means his job was to work it. He was going to serve and till the ground. He was going to be enslaved or kept in bondage, to be a bondman, okay? This is what, so basically that's why I'm trying to show you all that that Esau and Jacob's birth of twins was a fulfillment of Cain and Abel, those lines starting over. When we go back to Genesis 3, we'll see that the Most High actually cursed the ground. So, all right, let's see. So he tells Adam here in 3:17, because you hearken to the voice of your wife and you ate of the tree which I commanded you, saying, don't eat of it. Cursed is the ground for your sake. In sorrow you shall eat of it all the days of your life. So the ground got cursed in 3:17, and the line of Adam's descendants was still the herdsmen over the grounds, and the line of Cain was Cain's portion was to till it, was to work that cursed ground. That's why when they brought the offerings to the Most High, Abel brought his flock. You know, he was sacrificing his flock and giving the first fruits, and he was giving the best of his livestock to the Most High. And Cain, he brought offerings of what he had gathered from the ground, what he had reaped, but he didn't bring the best. He kept the best for himself, and brought what he didn't want. And so and it was rejected. And so it kind of goes back to Esau feeling rejected by the Most High. So I'm going to jump down to Genesis. I think it's Genesis 27. It talks about Esau. Okay, so this is the blessing, but the birth was in 25. So I'll go to 25. Okay. All right, so the birth of Esau and Jacob. So remember, they were struggling in her womb, and when she sought God about it, he told her, there are two nations of people in your wombs that will be separated from your bowels. One will be stronger from the other, and the elder shall serve the younger. So he's going back, saying that the elder, which was Cain, the one that will be born first, which represents Cain and whatnot, Esau, would serve the younger. Just like, and that's why the line of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob are described as shepherds. Even our Messiah, the Christ, is the good shepherd. We're his sheep, we're his flock. And Esau's portion was to serve. from the beginning. So there was no stealing of the birthright when Esau has always felt, that he was bamboozled by his brother or deceived by his brother, and his birthright was stolen from him. But from the beginning, it was always Jacob's inheritance. And also, and I think the testament of Abraham, it may be in the testament of Abraham or the testament of Jacob, which is another script that you all can probably pull up on YouTube and listen to, or or you can Google and read for yourself. But we know that Jacob was Rebekah's favorite and Esau was his father's favorite. And there was a part, and I believe, I don't know if it was the testament of Abraham or the testament of Jacob that I was reading, but one of them, Abraham was actually visiting with Rebekah and her husband, and they actually, he saw, or he noticed, and he could tell that Esau was Isaac's favorite. And he actually pulled Rebekah to the side and said, I know that Esau is his favorite, but remember, the promise is coming through Jacob. Jacob is the child of the promise. And Rebekah took heed to that. And so that's why, as soon as she heard her husband telling Esau to go, gather, make him a meal that he may eat of it and bless him, she immediately, sprung into action. And she knew that the blessing and the birthright belonged to her son, to Jacob. And so, but once again, we're going to talk about, let's go to their birth here. And it says that Esau came out red all over like a hairy garment. All right, with the firstborn. And so he came out hairy. That's one description of him. And then he was red all over. So if we give birth during the birthing process, when the children are pushed out, that is like a strenuous process. So that's going to make, if he came out, for instance, with white skin, that's going to make his skin red or rosy. Just the trauma of childbirth. So also, I want to, and remember, I did place an emphasis on how it says that Esau was a hunter and Jacob was a plain man that dwelled in tents. And we know that until, Rome and Great Britain started colonizing the world, most of humanity was still dwelling in tents. So let me go down to 27. So the mother has already said, go, your father's about to bless your brother, let's pull this off pretty much. And Jacob says to his mother here in verse 27 and 11, he says to his mother, behold, Esau, my brother, is a hairy man, and I am a smooth man. So this is another description that is given of him. And then he says, my father will curse me and not bless me if he realized that I'm deceiving him. So I just Googled smooth men. You can see here, smooth chest men. All right. And this is what came up: men with smooth chest, smooth arms, smooth skin, smooth necks. Okay. And this is what came up. And then I Googled hairy arms, hairy arms men right here. That's all I Googled. And now let's look. You see how the first Google search for smooth arm were all melanated men, and then now we have, you know, all Caucasian men when we Google hair. So remember, Jacob had to take the hair from a lamb, I'm sorry, not a lamb, the hair from a goat, in order to put, and he put it on his chest, his neck, his arms, and hands, so that when his father felt him, he would feel this. And then he also put on his brother's garment so he could smell like the field, like he's been hunting. Okay. So let me go back. And then, so that's why I said here. So now she takes the kids of goats and put it upon his hands and the smooth of his neck. And then he gets the blessing, but we're going to go down to the blessing. And read exactly what the blessing says. The blessing was given to Jacob in Genesis 27, verses 28. And it says, therefore, God give thee the dew of heaven and the fatness of the earth and plenty of corn and wine. Let people serve thee and nations bow down to thee. Be Lord over thy brethren, and let thy mother's sons bow down to thee. Cursed be everyone that curses thee, and blessed be everyone that blesses thee. So the emphasis here is on the first thing that Jacob got was the dew of heaven. So the heaven was his portion. Heaven was the dew of heaven was his inheritance. So that was given to Jacob. So when Esau comes in and he tells his father to arise and eat of the venison that he made for him, his father says to him in verse 27 and 32, who are you? And he says, I am thy son, thy firstborn Esau. And Isaac trembled exceedingly and said, who? He said, where is he that has taken the venison and brought it to me, and I've eaten all of it before you came, and I blessed him, and he shall be blessed. I can't take it back. He's gonna be blessed. And so Esau, when he heard the words of his father, he started crying, oh, bless me, father, bless me. Now, mind you, he sold the birthright because he despised it, but he wanted that blessing. So when he was like, is that the only blessing that you have? You can't bless me. You don't have anything left for me. So so now it says, by the time we get to verse 38, he's lifting up his voice and weeping before his father. So then his father answers him in verse 39 and says, behold, your dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth and the dew of heaven from above. So Esau's blessing is the fatness of the earth. See how it's opposite? This world was given to Satan. It was lost kind of like by default through the fall of humanity. And so the same way that Satan has the earth for a period, Esau, his portion or his inheritance is the fatness of the earth. That's why every like pretty much every nation is ran by um a strong white man. Pretty much, is no other way to say it. They pretty much are running the world, over every corporation and over everything, because the fatness of the earth is theirs and it was given to them as their portion and the blessing. Poverty, um, and things of that nature in this world more so is related to people of color, but the kingdom is their portion. And so, and also that's why Esau and the current God of this world, the God of, flesh and everything carnal, were given 6,000 years. So let's see, what else do I have for this? So Esau basically represents the flesh, the Antichrist spirit. Like I said, if you go back and you look at when Cain was expelled, he went and built the city. You had Nimrod build the Tower of Babel and build a city, and they rebelled against the Most High. And then you had Esau. He has built cities all around the world, and even right now, like even the United States, America has army bases, military bases in over 800, places throughout the world. And the Bible gives a lot of emphasis on who he is and say that it represents himself by the eagle, because he is puffed up, he's proud. Like many people that are proud to be an American and, have their American flags and, are willing to fight for their country and things of that nature. So I wanted to show here, because people might say, well, it's no way they were Black and they had, how can they have a Black and a white child? But here I Googled pictures of Black and white twins. Here are two twin girls. One is white with blue eyes, and one is and blonde looking hair, and one is, Black with dark eyes, Millie and Marcia Biggs, and they are in Birmingham, Alabama. Here is another set of, these are twins, Lucy and Maria Almer. One is pale skin with green eyes and red hair, and this girl here is Black, dark eyes, but they are twins. They were born at the same time. Here are another set of twins. This girl here said that her grandfather on her mom's side was Black. And so she actually gave birth to twins, and she said they looked identical during birth, but a few weeks later, this one started to darken up. So this is possible for someone to give birth. Is very, they call it 1 in a million, or is the odds aren't that often. So yeah, like I said, she gave birth to 1,000,001 Black and white twins. But this phenomenon does happen. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and end the video here, and then there will be a part 3 that focuses on, even though back then you may have been able to tell who was Jacob and who was Esau. But today in the modern day age, since all the mixing of races, we really can't tell anymore. So I'll focus on that in this last part. You all have a blessed and happy Sabbath.